let's get into it. An Aussie heartbreak tonight with a shock upset at the F1 after local golden boy Oscar Piastri crashed with 13 laps to go. He rejoined the race but ended up finishing ninth. It was an intense day all round, the rain causing havoc on the track, but McLaren's Lando Norris managed to dominate the wet conditions to come out on top despite a nail-biting race.
And Damon Hill took out the championship himself back in '96. He's won 22 in total over 8 seasons. And, of course, you hear him all the time on the telly commentating. Damon, obviously a disappointing day for the Aussies. Where did it all go wrong for Oscar?
You just got it a little bit on the difficult part of the race where it started to come down and they were on slick still. He didn't quite make it round to the pits and unfortunately got stranded on the grass. He did a good job to get it in reverse, but by then really everything was lost and all he could do was salvage some points. But a sad day for him. He was looking so strong. It was really looking great all weekend. I know how much he really wanted this win. But sadly, Lando was able to keep him in bay, but it just got the better of him.
Lando, like you mentioned, had a great race. He won. I guess it kind of settles the debate about Oscar, Lando, who was going to be the #1 driver, who would push for that kind of position in the team at McLaren. Is it all over? Is Lando the guy they're backing?
No, I mean, at the moment, if you look at it, I think that obviously Lando's delivered for the team and Oscar had a moment and is not delivered the maximum. But as I said, this is a 24-race season. We will not remember what happened at Melbourne in about 5 races' time. No disrespect to Melbourne, but you know the points, the whole thing gets a momentum of its own, and there'll be races that you just won't believe coming up as well.
Well, today's conditions saw drivers crashing out from the get-go. Is it days like this that really show what they're made of?
Yeah, I'm afraid it is. I mean, you know, Max Verstappen put on an excellent performance yet again. They didn't quite have the pace of the McLaren, but it was, you know, through these difficult conditions, the brilliant drivers seemed to sail through. And, you know, we saw some of the younger rookies. Jack Doohan had never driven a Formula 1 car in the wet, and it caught him out. And I do feel for them because it is extremely upsetting. We saw Isaac Hadjar coming through after losing it on the warm-up lap, you know, and he was in tears. And we had Anthony Hamilton coming out in the paddock here, putting an arm around him and saying, listen, you know, trying to pick his spirits up a bit because it's crushing when you're a young, hopeful driver. You don't want to be dropping the ball in front of all your, you know, the world stage like that in a very embarrassing way. But of course, it doesn't always happen, and we learn from it, and we pick ourselves up and try again next time.
Well, you've driven that circuit. Can you give us any idea of what it might feel like driving in the wet? Like, what are these drivers up against when they're driving through those conditions?
Well, I suppose it's a bit like trying to go on an ice skating rink in high heels, probably. I don't know, but have you ever tried it?
Do not try it.
OK, so, you know, it is very, very difficult, and it's so easy to lose the car. What happens is you saw nearly all of the cases, they accelerated and the rear tyres lost grip and they spin up. And once they start spinning, they lose the ability to corner as well. So then they slide out. And it's very difficult to stop these cars. They weigh 800 kilos. And once they start to move in one direction, to stop them is a very difficult thing.
Oh. Damon, really appreciate it. No, it's been a very busy day for you. We'll leave it there. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Pretty thrilling race. You were trackside over the weekend.
I was there on the Saturday. It was like, it's such an event. That's the thing, you know, if you're not into the F1, you probably don't realise, but it is such a momentous occasion culminating in this thing. Like, we're having a race of the fastest people in the world. It's a crazy event. And then when the rain came down today, it was just... You heard it there talking about how, like, Jack Doohan's son... Mick Doohan's son. He'd never driven an F1 car in the rain, and trying to do it in those conditions, it was...
How do you reckon you'd go on with high heels on ice?
Well, see, I'm not skilled. I mean, I've never been on the ice. I've worn high heels, obviously, but I just...
reckon you've got the legs for it, Sam.
Well, I probably could pull it off, but it's a hell of a weekend, and it started off the F1 season in a pretty exciting way, so I can't wait to see what comes.
So exciting you forgot to shave.
Yeah, sorry, I was at the F1. I've got hangover chic is my look today.